Hello, bonjour, namaste, ni hao, and ohio everybody. What is going on? It is Galeriot here, and welcome back to the YouTube channel once again for another Danmachi video. And we're back with some more Danmachi Fulland of Water and Light today, as I want to talk about what the gameplay and genre might be for the game. Of course, we have no idea on what either of those two things are currently at this moment in time, because they've not shown us anything. And when I mean they've not shown us anything, they have not shown us anything, including how the game looks like. So we have very little to go off of. But today I want to talk about what I expect to see from the gameplay side of things, and what I want to see more so than anything else, of course, right? Because at the end of the day, who knows what the game may look like? We don't know how much is being put into this game budget wise. We don't know how long they've been developing this game either. So this is going to be completely fresh for all of us, and it'll be a complete unknown for all of us in terms of how the game will look like and how the game will play. Of course, if you guys going to enjoy today's video, please be sure to leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel for more Danmachi content, and let me know in the comment section down below what would you guys like to see from the game, what type of game would you guys like to play, and of course what genre would you guys like to experience through Danmachi. Of course, I'm quite curious to see what you guys have to say down below, of course. Or well, I should say, what type of genre would suit Danmachi the most is a better question there. Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm quite curious to see what you guys have to say. Now, like I said, this is all complete guesswork here. I have no idea what the game will look like, and to be quite honest, some of the names I'm going to suggest here today are big game names, and I don't think our game for Danmachi will be anywhere near that. But what I would like to see them try and do is sort of emulate that sort of gameplay, that sort of style maybe, and ideology more so than anything else. I don't expect the graphics to be the same as some of these games. The first game I'm going to mention, definitely I don't expect the graphics to be anything like that, of course. But what I would like to see, like I said, is just the core gameplay experience should match. For me, more so than anything else, I don't care if the graphics are like okay to slightly above average. As long as the gameplay is good and the game has good replayability and fun to it, I think that's more important than anything else, to be quite honest. So let's start off with the first one, and this is a game that I personally adore a lot, and I think that Danmachi would suit it massively, and that is Elden Ring. Now, when I say Elden Ring, I'm also talking about every other Souls-like as well. I think Danmachi would suit a Souls-like massively. The dark storytelling, a world building that you could implement through the dungeon and everything, of course, right? Along with the fact that you've got this amazing roster of monsters to go up against, and you've got this high difficulty situation to be in as you progress down the floors depending on your level. I think it's a perfect setup. I think it is a perfect setup. Now, of course, this time around, I'm not sure if it will work, of course, to implement a Souls-like into the game that's coming up, because of course we don't have the dungeon. But I think the Souls-like plus the dungeon in Danmachi would be amazing. And the reason why I'm saying that I don't think we will be getting the dungeon is because, of course, if you guys didn't watch my story video, we are expecting the story to take place in Melon, not in Aurario. So that means basically we might not even have any form of dungeon exploration, to be quite honest. It's very possible. We don't know yet. Of course, as we get closer and closer to the release date, we'll find out. But yeah, like I said, I don't expect the graphics to look anywhere close to this. But what I mean by I would like to see a Souls-like, give me this high difficulty gameplay, the world building, the levels and stages that we can get. Of course, I don't expect it to be like Elden Ring, an open world game. That's one thing I'll immediately dissuade people from, probably, is that I don't see us getting an open world game. I think that is the first thing I will probably say. It's too early in the Danmachi console game series, or the console game life cycle for us to get an open world. It's too early. The game, we, like I said, we don't know the budget that's being put into this game, and but it's probably not a lot, right? We don't know how much is being put into this game, but I will probably hedge a bet and say it's not the multi-millions that some of these other games are getting. Probably in the millions, maybe into the double digits a little bit, maybe 10-15 million dollars potentially, but you're not getting 50+ million dollars for a Danmachi game. Let's be real, right? Let's be real. That's probably not the investment that we are getting in a Danmachi console game. Of course, I would love to see that sort of investment, but it's probably not happening, right? I don't even know how much Dragon Ball games are being budgeted towards, but anime games generally don't get the biggest of budgets. They don't get the hundreds and 200 millions of dollars of budget that some other games tend to get. Probably at most 100 if you're talking about Dragon Ball games. Probably Sparking Zero will get that, but yeah, I don't expect us to get that budget for Danmachi. But what I would like to see is if the gameplay can emulate this high difficulty and high octane adventuring along with the solid world building. I mean, come on, we can get something beautiful here with Danmachi, man. I genuinely do believe we would have an extremely fun game, a challenging fun game as well, and of course you will be able to get some amazing world building there. But yeah, like I said, I don't expect it to be anything like the open world of Elden Ring. Maybe more so like a Souls like Dark Souls or like potentially Sekiro, that we get, you know, more of like a level based, you know, area to area kind of thing, basically, where we progress through areas kind of more so than anything else. Maybe we'll see. But yes, that is number one, and I would love to see a Souls-like, a proper Souls-like adventure game would be amazing. Now the next game is again more so based for the dungeon. I want to get these two out of the way because I feel like this is what I would love to see from a Danmachi game. Then I will be moving on to my more realistic options. So we'll start off with Hades, because Hades to me, again, fits perfectly with the ideology of what the dungeon is, of course, right? Procedurally generated, of course, runs, of course. If you guys don't know what a roguelike is, basically, every time you do a run, basically, because you go start to finish, you come back to the start, and then when you do it again, basically, it's completely different. The experience is different. The mobs at each level is different. The enemies change ever so slightly. The map changes slightly, and so on and so forth. I think that would fit the idea of the dungeon as well quite well. Even though I know that the dungeon stays stagnant for the most part in terms of its layout, I think you could probably, you know, mix it up a little bit by us accessing maybe potentially and explaining it by saying that, oh, we're in a different area of the dungeon at that time. Maybe, you know, we're going from floor 1 to floor 2. We've gone through a different route, basically, right? Potentially that would be a great way of explaining it. And then of course you can set up different enemies at different stages, and of course they can be random at all times, and you can have different spawns, different structures, and so on and so forth. It's a game you can kind of have like a little bit of leeway with the storyline in that regards, and the idea of the dungeon. In my personal opinion, you can kind of get away with it a little bit, because I feel like a roguelike and Danmachi would also bang big time. Personally, to me, I think it would be so cool getting a game like Hades. You know, very simple game. This is an indie game, by the way, mind you. Remember that Hades is an indie game. So a game like this, I would love to see, you know, Belle in this sort of format. You have like your Lily Welf and you know, Haruhime supports as well. Mikoto's there as well. And you can change up your weapon here and there. You can run Hestia knife. You can run maybe the longsword at one point, so on and so forth. You have different types of magic as well to incorporate as well. I think it would be a phenomenal idea to go with, and to like I said, I think it would just work as well. And you can have a story to develop alongside it, maybe something more so to do with the dungeon than anything else. But yeah, for me, I would love to see something like this. I would really love to see something like this. I had a lot of fun playing Hades. You know, I cleared it a couple of times in terms of the I completely cleared the base story. I'm now running through basically all the extra stuff that you can do in the game. It's so crazy, because the thing is, right, when you're done with the game, you're still not done with the game, is what it is basically, which makes it a lot of fun replayability wise. And I think, you know, for me, that is the key thing that they need to be targeting more so than anything else, right? Like I said, graphics isn't the key thing. I mean, you can make a game look extremely pretty and it looks like this, right? It's not a, you know, oh, the models are high definition or anything, but they are well designed, well colored, well placed. It just suits everything, right? This is a beautiful game, even though it's not like a high quality 3D action adventure game, right? But yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it just needs to nail on that replayability so that people are engaged with it more so than anything else. It allows people to recommend the game as well. A lot of people run by this ideology that a game should be worth the amount you spend on it, right? So if you're spending $40 on it, people should get 40 hours of gameplay out of it, right? I don't necessarily completely believe in that, because sometimes some games can be only 20 hours long, but they can be absolutely banging. But at the same time, they cost about $50, $60, right? There's no real correlation there in that regards. But to me, more so than anything else, if a game is going to be worth your money, it has to be worth replaying it, I would say, at least 2 or 3 times minimum, in my personal opinion. That is the most important thing. Some games you can go without replaying them, of course, but I feel like some games like Hades, Elden Ring, and stuff like that thrive on replayability, and so does games like Xenoblade Chronicles, which is the next one I'm going to be talking about. I think somebody actually mentioned in my comment section that they would love to see a game like Xenoblade Chronicles be used as a foundation for Danmachi's console game. And while I can see that as well, again, I don't see us getting the open area sort of thing that we have here. It's bloody massive, of course, and again, budgets and all are probably the biggest constraint we will have with the Danmachi game. Let's be real, right? I don't see us getting something as expansive as this in terms of the open world. But what I would like to see more so than anything else is potentially the combat, because of course the combat isn't high and intensive in terms of like, oh, it's an action, you roll, you move and stuff like that. What you're doing here is it's like a real an active it's sort of like Final Fantasy in a way, right? It's sort of like it's not turn-based necessarily. It's not a turn-based RPG, but it is an RPG at the same time. It's got JRPG elements, basically, where you have to use certain techniques at every time. You can move around in the area. You don't stay still. This guy stayed still in the video itself, but you can move around. You can do certain actions. You can, keep moving like how it's shown here, right? You have different moves on your bottom bar, and you've got things to do there, basically, and you can upgrade your skills and so on and so forth. I think this would work massively, but again, I don't know if we would get the expansiveness of the Xenoblade games or any other open world game, to be quite honest. Which brings me to my final game, and these are my 2 realistic options, by the way. Xenoblade is the first one, and then my second realistic option is Octopath Traveler. Now, if you guys haven't played Octopath Traveler, this is your definitive classic 2.5D kind of a JRPG, basically. So let's move a little bit ahead, and I want to show you guys how the game looks like as well. So of course the game starts off, you choose between 8 characters, I think it is, and the gameplay looks like this, basically. So you have a very old school style 2D elements here with the pixel models and everything, the very 3D-esque backgrounds. That's why it's 2.5D in a way. Very popular game, very popular game. Even the second one I've heard is really good as well. I think if they go down this route, it would be a banger as well. Maybe don't go down the 2.5D route. Maybe they can stick with the 3D route and incorporate a couple of open levels, but they can definitely incorporate the RPG elements that Octopath Traveler has with the gameplay and the combat side of things. Just a general classic RPG style, you go up against players, and we'll see here in a second. Yeah, there we go. This is the combat. Very simple system, very Danmemo-esque even, which personally I don't mind if it is like Danmemo, to be quite honest. Hey, listen, if you want me to if they want to give us a game that's like Danmemo, but actually like a full-length game, I'm all for it. I don't mind RPGs. Like, the issue with Danmemo was that the power creep was too strong there. But of course, in a console game, that is to be expected. You'll start off at one level, you'll end at one level. As an RPG, I think it will work extremely well. Maybe just the designs probably will be a lot more 3D, probably a lot more realistic in that regards, not like pixel models. I think they'll probably take in actual models. But we'll have to wait and see, because of course, if you guys didn't know, the publishers of Danmachi's new game, Bushiroad Games, is making another anime IP game for which is obviously based on Goblin Slayer, and that's coming out only on the Switch and Steam, I think it is, and that is a very similar style to this, basically very 2.5D-esque pixel art, designs and everything. and that is a tactical RPG. I don't think we'll get a tactical RPG, to be quite honest. I don't see Danmachi being that, but what I can see is probably something like this. I would not be surprised if they go down this route as well for pixel art, but I'd prefer if it was an actual like RPG. That being said, I wouldn't mind this as well. I love me some pixel art, to be quite honest, and I'd love me a Danmachi pixel art game, to be quite honest. But I'd say that if we do get anything, it'll look more so like this, with like proper models and everything, 3D models and all, or 2.5D models probably, we'll see, of course. And it'll be something like this where you're moving in the overworld, going up and down and everything, maybe a little bit higher scale, but not as grand as Xenoblade or Elden Ring is what I expect to see. So that's my prediction, and that's what I would like to see. I would like to see if we aren't getting a roguelike or Souls-like, which I'm reserving these two. If we do get the dungeon, we need to get these two at some point. We have to get these two. I think it would fit so well. Maybe if we get a creator character in the future, a creator character game, which I don't think Fulland of Water and Light will have, by the way. I don't see us getting a creator character. But if we do get a creator character in the near future, 100% give us gameplay like this. I would love to see it. I would absolutely love to see Souls-likes or roguelikes in the Danmachi universe. But if we are looking at Fulland of Water and Light, I think we have to adopt something like Octopath Traveler or Xenoblade Chronicles. Even a classic Final Fantasy, I think. A Final Fantasy game, not classic, but just generally a Final Fantasy game is a very good inspiration point for a Danmachi game, in my personal opinion as well. So you've got a good set of games to adopt and take inspiration from Bushiroad Games, and whoever the developer is, we still don't know who that is, of course. So fingers crossed they nail it. They absolutely nail it. I cannot wait to see what the gameplay is gonna be like. I cannot wait to be probably disappointed by the gameplay, considering how we're gassing it up to be and what it could potentially be. We'll have to wait and see. I would say I'm gonna keep my expectations at a very tempered level. I'm not gonna expect the world out of it. Like I said, I'm not very expecting a huge budget towards the game, so it's unreasonable to expect something of a insane quality. But if indie games can do something like this, come on, you gotta be serious here. Let's be real. Like, come on, you have to have the developers to make something good there, right? We'll have to wait and see, though. We'll have to wait and see. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please be sure to leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, take it easy, everybody. Bye-bye.